Therefore, the trial of Ousmane Sonko, former Interior Minister of the Gambia, will open in Bellinzona before the Swiss Federal Criminal Court for crimes against humanity. My name is Philippe Currat, and I'm Ousmane Sonko's defense counsel. Ousmane Sonko considers that the Office of the Attorney General of Switzerland did not conduct the proceedings against him in good faith, and that his right to participate in the proceedings, and in particular his right to be heard, were never respected. This is not a posture adopted by the defense to discredit the upcoming trial, but a factual reality. Ousmane Sonko was arrested on 26th of January 2017. The charges against him were first communicated to him during the hearing on 10th and 11th of May 2022, 5.5 years after his detention. This is not something that respects the principle of immediacy that is of paramount importance in international law. Between November 2018 and February 2019, the hearings of 5 people were delegated to the federal police. We did not have access to relevant information and documents before or during these hearings. The minutes of these hearings were modified after they were signed by the addition of elements that were not known to the parties at the time they were drawn up and signed. From October 2017, Ousmane Sonko requested the cooperation of the Swiss State Secretary for Migrations. Indeed, throughout the period during which he was Gambia's Minister of the Interior, he cooperated with the Secretariat of State for the return to Gambia of very large numbers of migrants present in Switzerland. This high-level collaboration lasted 10 years with him personally, but extended to almost 15 years before and after his time in government. Over all these years, the Federal Office for Migrations, which later became the State Secretariat for Migrations, financed the Gambian immigration services, which are subordinate to the Ministry of the Interior, and supplied them with IT equipment, uniforms, and vehicles. In March 2018, the State Secretariat for Migration provided the Swiss Federal Prosecutor with the required documents. These were analyzed by the Federal Police and returned to the State Secretariat for Migrations without keeping a copy. To date, we don't know the content of these elements, which are essential to the defense of Ousmane Sonko in order to examine with the tribunal whether or not the contextual element required by the definition of crimes against humanity is given in this case. Secret acts of investigation were carried out in the Gambia, which were not documented in the proceedings and in which the parties were unable to participate. These include talks between the Swiss federal prosecutors and the highest Gambian authorities, in particular a meeting with the Gambian Minister of Justice in Banjul on July 17, 2018, which remains undocumented in the proceedings. Hearings of witnesses were conducted in secret by the Swiss authorities in Gambia. 3 of the people subsequently interviewed in the presence of the parties claimed to have been previously heard by Swiss authorities in previous months. There is no record of any such hearings. Documents were brought back from the Gambia, but the chain of evidence was not established. In particular, it is not known who examined this document, who selected them, who made the copies, when or under what circumstances. The originals are unknown to the parties. It is therefore impossible to determine whether these documents are complete and reliable or whether they have been truncated or falsify. In general, Ousmane Sonko was often denied useful information and the time needed to prepare and ask questions of those heard by the prosecutor, particularly when they were plaintiffs. It was in this context that Ousmane Sonko requested the consular protection of the authorities of the Gambia. The Swiss federal prosecutors obstructed the visit of the consular authorities to Ousmane Sonko in a manner which the federal tribunal qualified as a violation of the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations.